Through my mom, I've gotten involved in the Rotary of Fort Lauderdale. During my time as a part of this club, I've met some incredible people. These are the people who truly abide by the saying, service over self, and happily dedicate some of their time to making our community a better place. Whether they're flying to Immokalee to deliver less privileged children Easter baskets, or they're signing in families at the Challenge Air Fly Day, or they're simply stuffing Thanksgiving baskets to bring to families who cannot afford a proper Thanksgiving meal. These are the people who I truly view as leaders. In my time at Rotary, what I have learned through Rotary is that being a team member and being a leader are very similar. One must have both traits in order to be a complete leader. The person I chose to interview for this assignment was Les Campbell. Les is somebody I met at Rotary about 6 years ago when I got involved. One of the main events that Les and I work together is Challenge Air. Challenge Air is a once-a-year event that takes mentally and physically handicapped children up into a small biplane, and it allows them to feel as though they're flying a plane and gives them a chance to forget about their problems for a while. This event can become very chaotic. This event can become very chaotic. The older I became, the more I learned from Les because he was my leader at that point. He taught me the best methods for checking in families, how to deal with flustered parents, and to how to enjoy the event. This year, he sat back and allowed me to take charge for the most part. He seamlessly went from leader to follower, and it was incredible because he was so happy for me and my success. He never hesitated to help and could sense when I was overwhelmed and stepped in without a word. When I called Les for an interview, he seemed genuinely surprised that I had chosen him. He is not someone who craves credit for what he does, because he is a natural leader and enjoys doing it. When I asked Les what type of leader he found himself to be, he said, "I'm a consensus-based leader. Your leadership style has to match your personality, and you really have to get people to buy into what you're executing. If you are not firm about your beliefs, then how do you expect others to join into what you're trying to do?" I smiled when he said this because I could not have agreed with him more. This is truly how he does things. This past year, during Hurricane Irma, he helped build a team that sent supplies over as a relief effort to aid Puerto Rico. And he put that team together himself, and he started the idea himself. Because of his passion in this idea, he got the other Rotary members on board, and it was a massive success. I asked Les if he had always found himself taking control of situations or being the boss. And he quickly said, "There's always a boss. There's always going to be somebody who's in charge, whether it's in your personal or professional life." Interestingly enough, he never answered yes or no to this question. He simply said, "Try to position yourself so that you have as much control as possible, whether it's a personal or professional setting." He then went on to say, "I believe I have a good skill set, and I try to use it as often as possible." Something else he said that truly resonated with me is that in order to be a leader, sometimes you must step back and be a team member. Because as a leader, you understand where your strengths lie and where your weaknesses lie. If you're with somebody who has a stronger skill set for that purpose, you should let them be the leader and be the best team member you can be. We then spoke about honesty, ethics, and how important it is to communicate with your team. I asked how important it was to share everything with the team, or what in fact it takes to communicate effectively without oversharing. He took some time to think, and then he replied, "Honesty and integrity have to be number one, in terms of handling yourself overall. Effective communication can sometimes be on a need-to-know basis. Sometimes there is sensitive information that is not always appropriate to widely share. That said, you can't run an organization if you aren't honest. You need to know yourself and have clear goals which need to be communicated on a team and individual basis. Sometimes the information is good, and sometimes the information is bad. One very important aspect is to avoid surprising people, no matter who they are." He told a story about a boss who once told him that a person who is being fired should never be surprised. They should always have had clear communication far before the firing so that they could have worked on their behavior or changed whatever it was that they were doing. Sometimes, in fact, you need to over-communicate with a person in order to help them fix a problem. I concluded the interview by asking Les what he felt was the most rewarding part of being a leader. And he thought for a minute and he said, "When you're able to coordinate an effort, it's an extremely elevated sense of satisfaction. It's extremely rewarding when employees grow personally and you have given them the guidance and are able to offer advice having been in their shoes. Helping play a part in an individual's development is the most rewarding. It is definitely an incredible feeling to help an individual realize their potential, especially when they may have not discovered it if they had not been on that team or had not been able to feel as though they could communicate with their leader." After speaking with Les, my impression of him as a leader did not change. In fact, it was solidified. He spoke more about his success with helping others rather than his successes on a personal level. He had clear-cut rationale for his leading style, and the fact that he was so quick to agree to an interview truly showed me what type of leader he was because he made time for me during his busy schedule. He embodies many of the traits I find important in a leader, such as honesty, openness, and a good knowledge of others. His affirmation comes from his teams, and they aren't personal rewards, but instead they're rewards as a whole. In conclusion, the reason I chose Les as a leader is because I view him as a leader on a community level, a professional level, and I see him as a mentor to me. When I chose to go to UF, it was a very hard decision for me. And Les has children of his own, and we were talking about college, and he said, "Emily, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that this is an important decision that's going to affect the outcome of your life, and it's something I truly believe you should go for." And I thought about him, and I thought about what a success he was, and it truly helped in my decision to come here. And I'm thankful to know him and all the other Rotarians because they are leaders and they're people I aspire to be when I'm older, and I hope to grow myself as a leader. And through this interview, a couple things he told me, such as the fact that there's always going to be a boss, or that the reward is in watching other people grow, it showed me that being a leader isn't about bossing people around. And sometimes it's not necessarily about finishing the direct goal, but it's about helping those around you and lifting others up and motivating them for a positive change. So these are the reasons that I chose Les for this assignment. Thank you.